All right, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope everyone has had a great morning, and I hope everyone is going to be having a great afternoon as well. Right now, it is 2:20 England Standard Time and 12:53 Dubai Standard Time. I hope everyone is ready for today's live streaming session. I hope my audio and video are clear, crystal clear. All right, I think we are good to go. So let us start with today's second live streaming session by a quick introduction about the one and only Harsh. I am Harsh. I have 8 years of trading experience. I have been trading the financial markets, especially the forex markets, the commodity markets such as oil, gold, silver, as well as the US based indices like the S&P 500, the Dow Jones 30 and the Nasdaq 100. I am more of a technical trader. I specialize in technical analysis such as supply and demand, price action, order flow analysis, trend analysis, swing analysis, and Fibonacci retracement analysis. I have been blessed and I'm grateful to be mentored by some of the brightest minds in the financial markets. I have been taken under the wing and I have been provided guidance from people who used to work as flow traders on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So it's been a huge blessing for me to gain experience and gain knowledge from such brilliant people. I have also been successful in handling $25 million worth of portfolio. And on top of that, I have also been successful in producing around 30 to 35% of profitability on an annual basis. The reason for me to share all this information with you is so that you can be rest assured that the information that I am providing to you is coming from someone who has the experience, the knowledge, and the expertise when it comes to the financial markets. So, I want to know people's opinion about the financial markets. How many of you think that the financial markets are a very lucrative place to make money? How many of you think it is possible to make money in the financial markets? If you say yes, you can type yes in the chat box. And if you say, Harsh, we do not know, or maybe you have lost money, you can type that too in the chat box. Remember, we are trying to have a dialect conversation over here where I will be doing most of the talking. All right, Harsh will be doing most of the talking, but I need your response. I need your reciprocation so that I can understand and I can, solve your queries, answer your queries, and help you better in the financial markets. So, coming back to the question, a lot of my viewers and customers they keep saying that Harsh, yes, we know that the financial markets is a good place to make money, and yes, we have heard about people making money in the financial markets. But when it comes to us personally making money, Harsh, we think we are not that great in making good returns. It could be because of we don't have the right mentor, we do not have the right guidance, we do not have the right tools and resources to work through the journey when it comes in financial trading. And that is exactly what I, Harsh, at Dolphin Markets is providing to you. We are providing to you valuable content in terms of analysis, content in terms of hot stock recommendation, right? Trading strategies that can make you a good amount of money, and content in terms of education. So when you're getting a trifactor bonanza of such high value content, it is in your interest to be a part of Dolphin Markets and to subscribe to Harsh's live streaming sessions where you will be provided with money making opportunities and learning opportunities. When you can learn and earn together, the factor is very strong to make you much better than the rest of the people who are trying to figure out what to do in the financial markets, or people who have suffered losses, right, in the financial markets. So since we have been maintaining a very consistent and diligent financial sheet in terms of when the trades were taken, when the trades were closed. Remember, we always maintain two separate financial sheets. The first financial sheet is focused mainly on tracking, which is basically trades that have been taken in the past and that have been closed, as well as stock holding. Stock holding is the live hot stock recommendations that have been shared and are currently running in the markets, correct? So we have been uploading and recording and maintaining very diligently in a very structured manner so that it is crystal clear for everyone who is attending this particular live streaming session to be aware that yes, Harsh is providing with hot stock recommendations that have been making money. Remember, we are going back all the way to mid of September. So today being 13th of December, we are very close to completing 3 months. And in 3 months, we have been sitting at a cumulative profitability of 227, right? 37 trades have been taken and squared off to give a cumulative profitability of 227 in almost 3 months, right? Short, it's less than 3 months. Nonetheless, we have been diligently providing you with entries with the price as well as the profit target once it has achieved. Just based in the month of December, as you can see, let me quickly show it to you. We are sitting at one, two, three, four. One second. Four and one more. We have five trades that have been taken, right? Let me just quickly check again. Like in the month of December itself, right? Today being 13, so just in a span of 13 days, we have been able to, you know, have or attain a profitability of more than 21%, right? Let me just quickly click one, two, three, four. So we're sitting at 31% profitability, right? For one, two, three, four, five. Five trades have been taken just, within the span of December. Five trades have been closed at a profitability of an average profitability of 5% per trade. And we have been able to attain a profit accumulated profitability for the month of December at 31%. That is just to showcase that it is possible. We are providing you on a real time basis with hot stock recommendations, and you can see the results for yourself. Please be aware that since the value of our content is of top notch quality, we are mainly focusing our services to be provided to VIP customers, customers who are willing to invest, customers who are willing to take trades, and customers who are willing to make money, right? With such high quality content, we want to make sure that we are able to provide it to those who are willing to take action. But since we are also in the marketing phase of providing awareness, creating awareness about our products and services amongst the Indian demography, we have kept the doors open for anyone and everyone who wants to be a part of Dolphin Markets, who wants to be a part of Harsh's live streaming session to understand, analyze, and take a decision for themselves in terms of the value that we are providing. So please bear in mind, it is going to be a limited time offer. Just this month is where we have kept the doors open for everyone. Next month onwards, we are going to shift to our private live streaming sessions where people who have taken the decision to follow Harsh's live streaming sessions will be provided with the continuation of our live streaming services. Sounds good? So please make sure you get onboarded onto Dolphin Market so that you do not miss opportunities to make money in the financial markets. This particular sheet that that I am showcasing is based on the Indian share market. Remember, we at Dolphin Markets are already established internationally. We have our offices in Hong Kong, in the UK, and in Australia. We are very well sorted out when it comes to the international markets, the forex and the gold and the slavery markets. But since we want to, create awareness amongst the Indian demography, we are showcasing our credibility in terms of trading and profitability in the Indian market, and we have been doing quite phenomenal, right? We eventually want you to make money in the Indian share market, and we want you to make money in the international markets as well. Since the Indian share market is up and running, we will be talking more about the Indian share market and the hot stock recommendations that have been shared. I'm sure every one of you would have attended my first live streaming session. If yes, please write down. I want to know how many of you have been, regular in attending, especially today's first live streaming session of Harsh. Because the reason is we are sharing you with hot stock recommendations. Today's hot stock recommendations for people who have been following. We had provided you with a hot stock recommendation on Hindware AP, right? And this particular hot stock was shared with parameters as shown on your screen. So please make sure that you are consistently attending my live streaming sessions, and at the same time make sure to keep your trading account open as well, because what is the point in attending the live streaming sessions if you cannot make money? We are providing you with all the services. All you have to do is replicate the data, replicate our parameters in terms of entry, in terms of the 5% profitability, and most importantly, right, we always and always will be focusing on mentioning that we want everyone to be entering with a position size between 10 to 15%, right? We have had clients and customers in the past who were too obvious or too overconfident of certain trades working in their favor. Please, I want to, create a very strong disclaimer. The markets run on probabilities, the markets do not run on certainty. We have been providing you with our diligent, structured format of providing hot stock recommendations, but the markets are based on probabilities. Remember, there are a lot of factors when it comes into movement of market, right? There could be microeconomic factors, macroeconomic factors, policies, government interventions, global scale events. There are so many factors that can affect, right? Even including the management of a particular company, of a hot stock. So you have to be very aware that we are not certain, but we are providing you with high probable trades. So always make sure that you are risking based on the position size and not much, right? But we also want to be clear that we have been very diligent in most of our hot stock recommendations achieving our desired target profit, since we have been focusing on the 5% profit target level. You have to be aware that this particular profit target of 5 has been evaluated based on our months of providing you with hot stocks, and based on the detailed trades that we have taken, 5% has been the right level in terms of practicality, where prices reach to the 5% target and they generally even reverse from there. So rather than taking one or two trades, we want to provide you with more trading opportunities and booking more profits, because the more profits you book, the more money you can make. All right, so I hope everyone is clear. The other question what people are saying is, Harsh, how can we get value from your courses? It is as simple as just attending my live streaming sessions, and that is it. You attend my live streaming sessions, you replicate the trades that we are providing you. Once a hot stock is analyzed by me, I will provide it to you. All you have to do is duplicate or replicate the trades on your platform and see the magic unfold in terms of making money. How many of you want to make little money, or and how many of you want to make a lot of money, right? Come on, you can write down in the chat box. It's very important to keep the response and the conversations going on. It will be helpful for me, and it will be definitely helpful for you as well. So I'm sure everyone has written, yes, of course we want to make lots of money. For you to make lots of money, what is the necessary instructions that have to be followed? First and foremost, be present for all my live streaming sessions. And second, keep taking the hot stock recommendations that we are sharing. You keep taking the hot stock recommendations, you will eventually see profits, pouring into your account, and you can be doing quite phenomenally well. I hope everything is explained in terms of what dolphin markets are doing, why we are having these live streaming sessions. All right, so right now it is 2:37. Let us start by looking at how the markets have been behaving. All right, so we had provided you with KRITI as today's YouTube live streaming title is suggesting. We are saying that this particular KRITI hot stock that had been shared 2 days back, right, is currently being held at the support area at 162 levels. So for this particular hot stock, we were expecting that there was a high probability for prices to go and hit target as of today, but as of now the prices are just still being around the support area at 160, 160, 162, right? So we will keep an eye on this. Remember, the markets are still going to be running for the next 1 hour. We are going to make sure that we are able to keep an eye on this, and we will go through all the other hot stock recommendations as well. Please bear in mind, sometimes the markets are neutral, sometimes the markets are full of energy and are bullish, sometimes the markets are skeptical and are bearish, right? The markets can only travel in three directions: bullish, bearish, or sideways, or neutral. So we are just going to be adapting to the changes that take place in the markets, and then based on those changes we will provide you with the necessary instructions in terms of whether additional trades have to be added, whether any improvisations have to be made. We will let you know. All right, so in terms of KRITI, as we had provided, yes, the prices had kind of surpassed our entry and have come quite lower to our areas of interest anyways, because we had mentioned that prices are currently in the formation of a possible inverted head and shoulders. Remember, I had talked about this yesterday, where once an inverted head and shoulder forms, and once we do expect the prices to break above a particular neckline, we do expect bullish momentum. But even before that takes place, we are even, when it comes to trading is like chess. You don't think of just the next step, you almost think 5 to 10 steps in advance, right? So based on the movement, we have been seeing that there has been a strong bearish trend line which is at play, which has been doing quite significantly well. Even for prices to return back to the trend line, even though the markets are still showing a downtrend with the formation of lower highs and lower lows, we can expect the retracement, and the retracement areas exactly where our 5% target is residing. So it is a matter of how we can make money. We are trying to do our due diligence when it comes to looking at fundamentals, when it comes to looking at technicals, and also sentimental. But based on the three outlooks, our main focus would be towards technicals, right? Fundamentals and sentimental will also be looked upon, but they are given second priority, because at the end we want to take trades consistently. The time frame for looking at fundamental analysis is to a minimum of 3 months. So the data that you are seeing on your screen when you're looking at fundamental analysis is already 3 months outdated. So sometimes there is going to be a lot of delay when it comes to taking trade. That's why we would be focusing more on technicals. All right, so let's start with KRITI. All right, KRITI Industries. As I talked to you about KRITI Industries, let me just quickly go to my web page, and I will be using. Remember, we are using, there are many websites. We have Ticker Tape, we have Insider, we have Research 360. You can use whichever you feel is suitable for you, right? I found that very useful to use Research 360, because it gives a very clear detail in terms of the values and the numbers and everything, right? We had talked about KRITI in the morning also, but we will give a quick outlook in terms of what KRITI is showcasing, right? As of today, there has only been one trading hot stock that has been shared. It was shared in the morning for the stock Hindware AP, right? So I hope everyone has been taking that trade, and I hope everyone has jumped onto that trade. Now, coming back to Critical Industries, let us first quickly look at what the company is about, right? So, in terms of what the company does, it is basically engaging in the manufacture, sale, and supply of pipe fittings, accessories which are used in agriculture, construction segment, and drip irrigation systems, right? So, manufacturing, sales, supply of pipe fittings. In terms of its sector right now, it comes under the general industrials. It's very important to connect the dots. We first understand, okay, what the company is actually doing, what is the name of the symbol. So it's KRITI in terms of its ticker symbol. And since morning, the prices which had opened at 167, right? Based on yesterday's close, we can see that the prices did have a bearish sentiment, but by 9:44 p.m. 9:44 a.m. Indian Standard Time, the markets have more or less been on a sideways trajectory, right? Almost maintaining the 166 area. In terms of this sector, which is basically general industrials, right? Let me just quickly go and showcase you what is the sector showcasing, right? It is important to understand how is the sector overall performing, right? So we have general industrials, and currently you can see that it is sitting at a negative 0.27. So with 120 companies under the general industrial sector being at a deficit and 75 companies being at an appreciation, so the overall sentiment is still bearish for that particular sector, and that is why it still has some kind of bearishness on the stock as well. We had looked onto it from the charting perspective, and over the last couple of months, or I would say even the last couple of years, the markets have been, not couple of years, sorry, but since September, right? So the last couple of months has been on a downward trajectory, but that is where we want to take opportunities. Remember, do you want to buy a product or a service which is expensive, or do you want to buy a product or service which is cheaper? Remember, the product and services remain the same. It is only the prices that are appreciating or depreciating. Let me give you an example of a handbag. So if you are preferring to buy a handbag, so let me just quickly type, and then I will come to your questions. We have Sophia in the house. Sophia is asking, does the index have to fall? I will talk to you more about that, Sophia. There is an article which I read across, and there was bearish sentiment in the morning, but there has been an uplift in sentiment based on certain companies that are outperforming as of today. We will talk about it, or we will talk more in detail about that as well. So just let me just quickly type this out, and we will come back to a more detailed discussion based on Sophia's question, right? If it's expensive, one second. If it's expensive or if it's going to be cheap, right? So you always have to be aware. The same product of KRITI, which was at the price of almost 270, is right now at the price of 166. Yes, the stock market is correcting, but do you want to buy a product if it's expensive, or do you want to buy a product when it's cheap? Right now, you're getting the same product for a cheaper price, and that is where we are trying to look for opportunities where we can make good money. So Sophia is also writing the market is not good recently, right? I have a position in this stock, but I'm waiting anxiously. Sophia, you do not have to worry. Remember, we cannot control the markets, but we can flow with the markets, right? All we have to do is flow with the markets. If you have ever seen a surfer will always catch a wave and surf in the direction of the wave. The surfer does not create the wave, the surfer uses the wave to flow and surf the wave, right? So we are going to be similar to a surfer. We just want to go with the flow of price movement, right? As of now, we had provided you with an entry on this particular stock between 170 and 175, but you have to be aware that the prices have come into a very strong area of support, right? It's not just any support, it's a key support area. I'm talking of the area around 162, and we are expecting this particular stock to hold at this particular support price and continue up. Even if prices have to continue up to the opposite, either it could be the resistance or it could be the trend line, we are going to be successful in attaining our 5% profitability, right? So, Sophia, you do not have to be anxious, you do not have to worry, because, like I say always, when Harsh is here, there is nothing to fear. All right. Now, coming back to your question in terms of why is the index having to fall, let me just quickly showcase to you in terms of how the markets have been. So actually, the markets, the index are not falling. The index is actually rising, right? The markets had come into a very strong area of a flip zone. I hope everyone is clear by now what a flip zone is. A flip zone is nothing but a prior resistance that has been taken out to create the opposite effect, right? So a resistance, if it gets taken out, it creates a support, and vice versa. If a support gets taken out, it creates a resistance. Right now, the prices have tested it once and have tested it twice. Today at 3:45 England Standard Time, 3:45 to 4:45, we are going to be looking in terms of why there was huge bearishness since morning, right? I hope people are aware that today the market had started on a huge bearish momentum, right? Almost there was a correction of 1.86, but right now we can see that the prices have almost reversed and have shot up to almost with an appreciation of 2.21, right? I wanted to show you another reason for this, and not reason, but basically, just give me a minute, let me find it out. So there was an article that I had read, and it is important to notice about that as well. Why there was a correction, when there was so much of bearish pressure in the morning, how come there was bullish sentiment all of a sudden, right? So you have to be aware the Indian equity benchmarks rebounded on Friday. So they started on a very significant bearish note, but over time they got converted to a bullish note. We still have around 40 minutes remaining for the session, and see how the markets can shift. The markets can be bearish in the morning and they can flip to become bullish by afternoon, by mid noon afternoon, right? So it was basically because of the reason of price being driven by gains in IT stocks amid expectations of a US rate cut. There is a news event that is expected in the coming weeks about a particular possibility of a rate cut in the US, based in USA, and based on that there is optimism in the markets that yes, the index would be having more bullish optimism. There were other companies like Bharti Airtel and some other companies which had shot up. It had exceeded expectations. Let me just show it to you, 1 second. So there were certain stocks which had also done quite well. We had Bharti Airtel, we had ICICI. Let me show it to you over here. In terms of the movers, right? So the overall market, when it started, as of today, as of Friday morning, the market was quite bearish, right? But with the onset of, like we had talked about Bharti Airtel, we had talked about ICICI, and we had talked about these are the two companies that I can recollect as of now, and they have resulted in the prices to bounce off. Just with two companies, right? Bharti Airtel. Let us just quickly look at it so you can be aware about it, right? Bharti Airtel has been doing quite significant in terms of its movement. The prices just based on today have shot up by almost 4.7. Just a company such as Bharti Airtel and even ICICI, right? ICICI Bank has also done quite phenomenal, which had started on a bearish note but has shown strong bullish sentiment. Why am I talking about these stocks? I'm talking about these stocks because such movements of such high value stocks, or also called as blue stocks, can have a significant impact on the index. So when the entire index had a bearish sentiment in the morning, it got converted into bullish sentiment, right? But we are also aware that there was a flip zone around that area where the prior resistance, which was holding price, had been negated, had been taken out, and that is the reason the prices which were acting as resistance has got converted to support, right? And the prices are continuing high. Please bear in mind there is a very immediate reaction for resistance opposite, and we will keep an eye on this as well. So prices should be having a tendency to plus or minus, come over that area, which prices have already done. So when we're talking about, our hot stocks that we are sharing, we are trying to utilize all these, points in conjunction. The markets will do what they have to do. We just have to improvise and take calls in terms of what would be the best or what would be the high probable trades that can work in our favor, and the rest can be left up to the markets. The more we think about the markets, the more we are going to get anxious. The more we are going to get anxious, the more nervous and scared we might get. We don't have to be scared. We just have to make sure that we are following the parameters and we are focusing on our risk management. All right. So I hope everything questions are clear. So Sophia is also writing, trading stocks with you this year, my account has doubled. That is exactly the power that we are trying to showcase. If someone like Sophia can do so well, if someone like Sophia has been following our, hot stock recommendations and has been taking trades and is trusting the process, that yes, Harsh is providing it with live streaming, Harsh is providing with education, analysis, hot stock recommendations. How can I learn to get more better in trading, right? And that is what Sophia has done. If Sophia can do it, so can every one of you, right? Take Sophia as an example and follow her. If she can double the account, so can you. What has she done? She's not different, she's not exceptional. The only thing she has done is she has been consistently attending our live streaming sessions and has been taking our hot stock recommendations, right? So please make sure, if she can do it, so can you. Sophia is also writing, can you add positions and lower the average price? Let me look at it. I hope you're talking about KRITI, right? So let me quickly go back to KRITI. Since our prices are very much closer to that area of interest, we would not suggest you to add additional trades as of now, because we are still wanting some kind of clarity confirmation. Remember, if I'm going to zoom in, I hope people can see my screen, right? Okay. Let me just use a polyline or a path. Currently, just based on the movement of price in the last in the last couple of days, because we are looking at it on the 1 hour, you can clearly see the prices are still having bearish sentiment. Yes, the prices have come into a strong area of support, but right now, Sophia, what I would be suggesting is, we need, based on technical clarity, right? We need to see it visually. We need to see the formation of the first higher high. Once the formation of the first higher high gets taken out, that is when we would be rest assured that prices should be continuing easily to our 5% take profit. So I would be suggesting that yes, we had provided you with an entry between 170 and 175. That is correct. But in terms of adding positions, you can take a hold, because the prices are very close to the area of our entry. But we have the assurance and we are optimistic that the prices should be coming to the area where the trend line has been respected. Even if the prices are able to reach the trend line, we are already very well close to our 5% take profit. So you should be making good amount of money, right? It's fine. Fridays are generally considered to be the volatile days, because there is a lot of squaring off of positions because of the uncertainty that the weekend can hold. There could be any kind of event that could take place on Saturdays and Sundays. That is why many of the big banks and institutions and investors as well, they try to close their trades on Friday with the anticipation of what can happen on the weekend. So they will again enter the markets on Monday, right? So I hope everything is clear. Now, in terms of this particular hot stock, we had been talking about why we had entered, what is the current rationale when prices are creating lower highs and lower lows. So even on the 1 hour, the prices are correcting. Let the 1 hour show a shift in trend, and then we can be more confident of prices, shifting from shifting from bearish sentiment to bullish sentiment. All right. Let me delete the unwanted lines. Remember, we are here to make money consistently. We do not believe in being right. Being right is not the entire crux of financial trading. We are looking at probabilities overall, right? We are not looking our profitabilities based on one or two trades. We are looking at it from a bigger picture. Are majority of our trades making money? Then it is automatically, negating the losses from the trades that are currently not going against us. Are you net positive or net negative? That is the main question, right? And we are thoroughly net positive. We have been doing quite phenomenally well. So for this particular stock, let us observe how the prices are going to be reacting between the support area, which is currently at around 160, and as and how the markets are unveiling, because it's almost half an hour for the markets to close for today. So in terms of adding trades, please do not, because it does not make sense. It is better to be fresh, into the markets maybe on Monday, once we have a clarity or a confirmation in terms of prices taking out a pivot low swing, so that we get the visual confirmation that prices which were bearish have started to show bullish sentiment, and then we will enter. All right, I think it is clear. That is good to know. So remember, the markets have been quite fascinating since today. Lot of bearish sentiment in the morning. Remember, yesterday we had even, let me just show it to you. We had news events, right? We had talked about it in the morning, but it is important to talk about it again as of now. The reason for the bearishness that had entered into the Indian markets was mainly not because of the Indian markets, but was because of the trickling effect of the US markets, right? So we had the producer price index month on month, and we had the unemployment claims, right? When the unemployment claims were lower than expected, right? Both based on the previous, which was at 225, the unemployment claims were low, so it had a detrimental effect on the US indices, and that detrimental effect affected the Indian shares as well. But with the heavyweights such as ICICI Bank and a couple of other companies, the markets have rebounded, and that is the entire beauty when it comes to the financial markets. Something that can be bearish can, instantly turn bullish just in a matter of 4 hour candles. The markets have turned bullish, but we also were aware that one is based on sentimental analysis, that okay, because of the US economic data that had detrimental effects on the share market. But the other most important factor is the technical analysis, because the technical analysis were indicating quite clearly that the downtrend that was, being held by the index had been taken out, and right now we have the uptrend which is holding. Now that the uptrend is holding, the prices had only corrected back to the area of interest, only for prices to continue up. So it was, expected. Now, would it be certain that it would happen? Not at all. But there was a higher probability for prices to carry out or to play out the way we had already expected, right? Since there is a bullish sentiment in Nifty, we want to see the same movement on our individual stocks as well. For the trade that was shared today, we were talking about Hindware, right? Hindware is basically in the branding, marketing, sale, distribution, trade service of consumer appliances and furniture, right? So sorry, this particular hot stock, as we had discussed on the 4 hour, because the 4 hour time frames are the right, it's the right time frame where we can analyze the subtle macro structures as well as the micro structures as well. Based on the clarity of structure, the prices had taken out, so it had created the formation of the first higher high, and that is what we had been wanting to. Based on the structure formation, the prices are currently entering back, so it is only a matter of time where we should be expecting the prices to return back to our 5% target. The 5% target is very much closer to the resistance area, that is between 310 around 315. So whether prices come to the resistance area and reverse will not make a difference, because you would have already made good amount of money for this particular stock, right? This particular hot stock had already been shared by my previous analyst, who had talked in details about the companies in terms of its financials, in terms of its report earnings and everything. So we would not be looking at Hindware. We would be looking at all the other hot stocks that are currently running as of now. Still, there is around half an hour for the markets to run. We were expecting for the prices to show some kind of bullish presence, but nonetheless, we can only adapt to the market changes, right? We do not have to be panicking, we do not have to rush. We just have to be rest assured that the market will play out the way it is intended to, right? In terms of Hind oil, currently we did expect that the prices would be, having a bearish momentum. Hind oil, let me just quickly show, one second. Hind oil, we had provided you with this particular hot stock. We had provided actually one, two, three, and four. All right, so four hot stock recommendations were provided, even though some of them had been closed. Right, we had closed one of our trades on 20, which was taken on 26th of November, which was closed last week, right, 4th of December, and that had made a 6%. But the other trades that are currently running above them, right, especially the ones which are going to be at around 210, 213 area. So let me just get back to the charts. So 210, 213 area, unfortunately the area that we had placed the trade at that particular time, we were expecting the prices to continue higher. But you have to be aware, there is still a lot of geopolitical uncertainty that is going on. The correction in the international crude oil markets are still playing out. So we have to be cautious that when there are such macroeconomic factors, they do have a trickling effect on their counter markets. Like if the international crude oil markets are being affected, the Indian crude oil market is no different, right? So it is going to be affected at some point in time. And that is why we are having this kind of correction as of now. Yes, the trades that have been provided at around 180, let me just check the values in terms of where, one second, where the trade was provided. So we had provided you with the Hindustan oil exploration trade at around 190 and 192 area, right? I hope people can see my screen. So this is the hot stock which we had provided, which had attained. That is the reason we keep that is the reason we keep informing and telling you again and again. If the markets are correcting, you do not have to worry. We will improvise. Whichever hot stock is listed on either the National Stock Exchange or the Bombay Stock Exchange will eventually have a positive appreciation in price. Why? Because these stocks have been thoroughly scanned and scrutinized by the governing body, which is SEBI, and based on their thorough analysis, they understand that these stocks have potential in terms of growth, right? So overall, there might be corrections in the market, but overall, the direction for the stock market is going to be bullish, right? So we do provide you with advanced and updated improvisations in terms of either adding trades or taking opportunities, because that is where you can keep making even when the markets are going against. So we were very successful in attaining 6% but the other trades that have been running in the past, we will keep an eye on them as well. So the trade that was provided around 210 and 213, right? Let me just quickly go to the charts. So 210, 213, unfortunately had been exactly at the area of a previous pivot, right? I hope everyone understands pivots are nothing but turning points, right? If you have any questions, if you have any queries, you can always make sure to type it down so that I can be aware about it and I can do my best in terms of responding to your queries, right? So since prices had come close to an area which was the last pivot, we were expecting the prices to, have the follow of the trend, because like we always say in technical trading, the trend is your friend till the bend at the end. So the prices had retraced all the way to the origin of the previous pivot, and that has resulted in the prices correcting. So we did make money on the last trade that was provided at 190, 193. But for the other trades, if there are more improvisations that have to be carried out in the future, I will let you know. All right. Now, coming back to the other trades, we had also provided you with other opportunities on D-Dave that had done phenomenal, right? We were very clear and very precise in terms of analyzing and speculating where we would be expecting the prices to bounce again from, and they have done quite phenomenally the same, right? So we will be keeping an eye on this as well. In terms of Annapurna, for those of you who are aware, we had provided you with two hot stock recommendations on Annapurna as well. One was provided on 9th of the Jan between 380 and 385. So let me just quickly go to the charts and show you where the values were mentioned. So in terms of the date, it is going to be 9th of December, right? So 9th of December, 380 and 385. Let me just quickly put the lines. For some reasons, the lines have disappeared, but nonetheless, you do not have to worry, right? We can quickly duplicate the lines and we will update them as well. So we had provided you on 9th of December with an area between 380 and 385. As of now, the price is basically oscillating between the resistance and the support like a ping pong ball, right? So we need to have more clarity. Let us go to the 1 hour and let us see in terms of 1 hour what the prices are currently showcasing. Even based on the 1 hour, we can see that the path or the correction has been more of a, or sorry, the price has been more on a correction path. So it started to go sideways and is currently going sideways. So eventually we want to see prices, crossing the last pivot, which is going to be around this area, for us to decide what the prices would want to do. But if prices have to cross the area at 380 and 385, our 5% target is anyways going to be around 400 and 405, right? So let me just change the color and update the lines for this as well. 400 and 405, which is falling exactly around the area of the previous resistance. And that is why we keep emphasizing that please focus on the 5% profitability, because that is practical and we have been observing it day by day, week by week, month by month, that the prices come, travel to the 5% and then have a tendency to reverse, right? So just let me make sure we have added the annotation so that people do not get confused in terms of what the lines are, right? I hope everyone is listening. I hope no one of you are, sleepy. Generally, after you have lunch, you do tend to get a little sleepy, but that is where you have to be, aware that no, Harsh is providing us with live streaming sessions. Harsh is providing us with valuable content. So we have to be, we have to pay attention. We have to follow his instructions and we need to be updated. I am just providing you with the updates that are currently taking place. The markets are going to be closing in the next 20 minutes odd. So we are just going to be keeping an eye in terms of whether there are any, instant movements, market volatilities in the market. There are times, when in the last 15 or sometimes half an hour or sometimes 15 or sometimes even 10 minutes before the market closes for Friday, that the markets are just ramming up and down. You never know, we can trade that is currently going sideways or bearish can instantly turn bullish, right? Like we had showcased you on the index. Nifty was bearish since today, but it flipped and turned to be bullish because of certain heavyweight companies which were, overperforming than their expectations. Now, in terms of the other stock that we had talked about, which was Poonawalla. Now, Poonawalla has been acting quite tricky, where again, like a ping pong ball oscillating between support and resistance, the prices are just playing around. So, we had provided you around 29th of October, and the prices are more or less sitting around the area. So, we would just need to have patience for this particular hot stock because it is, even though ICICI Bank has done quite well, not necessarily just because a stock is flying, the sector is also doing quite well. We should be aware that Poonawalla, which is basically in the finance and rental leasing sector, right, still has been having a neutral sentiment or a sideways sentiment because the overall index. Let me just quickly go and check in terms of what is, for Poonawalla. Give me a minute. In terms of Poonawalla, first and foremost, we want to make sure that we are looking at the right sector. So it comes into the banking and finance sector, right? So let me just quickly go into the sector analysis and see what is the overall banking and finance sector. It is just at a modest 0.13% appreciation, with 127 companies negative and just 71 companies positive, right? So when a company like Poonawalla that we have been looking at, it started off at 354, approximately 354.5, and is currently sitting at 350. So the prices had been bearish, but again, like KRITI, like the other trades that we have been looking, they have been more or less on a sideways tangent. So with Fridays, either there can be a lot of manipulation, a lot of volatility, or sometimes the markets are just, have decided to just go sideways and close for the week and might think about what other inputs would be required in the next week, correct? Remember, the month of December is generally the month where volume reduces, liquidity dries up, because many of the hedge funds, fund managers, banks, institution managers, directors, they generally prefer to take the month of December as their off. So when the month of December takes place, the market dries up. The markets more or less have a sideways momentum, right? Nonetheless, for this particular hot stock, I mean, based on the 3 years data, we were sitting at fabulous returns. But I'm pretty sure you all are aware that they had, stated net losses in their quarterly earning reports, and that has substantially affected the yearly, the quarterly, the monthly, and the weekly returns as of now. Even though the ROE, ROA, and EPS values have been rising compared to the previous years, it is just that the data is, has taken a huge hit based on the quarterly two results, right? We had talked about this, but it's important to be aware about, to revise about the reason, even though the data is strong, why are the markets being so bearish, right? That was mostly because of its quarterly two reports which were shared recently, right? We're talking about October. September is the last quarter. September, October, November, December. So the last quarter is where the data is still running, but just based on the quarterly, the second quarterly, end of second quarter, they had declared a top line growth of 33.8%, but they had reported significant loss of 471 crores for the quarter. That is a stark contrast to the profit of 860, which was reported at in the last year. So they had just a loss of 471 crores. That was the main reason for, even though the values are are optimistic in terms of the numbers that have been mentioned, the prices based on the charts were talking completely different, right? In terms of the movement of price, huge fall down, right? Just based on the quarterly earning report. We're talking all the way from September. If you can see my mouse, I'm going to be marking. Give me a minute. We are on the 4 hour. Let me go to the daily. So we have been looking at this particular, so all the way from September, sorry, October, my bad. So September and October, somewhere around this time frame is where the prices had a huge correction, not because the numbers were bad or not favoring. It was because of the net loss that was declared in the quarterly two earning reports, right? 471, a deficit of 471. But the markets have recovered, and now currently the markets are just going sideways. So, with the trades provided to you, we will keep an eye on it and we will let you know if any updates have to be made, right? As of now, we are just going to be having patience and we are going to be doing nothing else but waiting to see if more clarity is being provided. Even in terms of the 4 hours, it's been clearly in a sideways momentum. All right, very clear sideways momentum. Now, in terms of 1 hour, the prices have none or less. Again, they're within the same range, right? The entire range has been sideways. Let me just change the color so that people can not get confused whether it is resistance support. It is just sideways that the prices are oscillating. So the daily, the 4 hour, and the 1 hour, all are showing sideways. When it comes to volume, you can see that there is a strong bar that has popped up on 11th of December, that is 2 days back. So that did indicate there was some bullishness, but again, the prices are collecting orders in terms of collecting orders and selling out, right? A trade is only manifested when there is a buyer and a seller. So there might be a huge buyer coming in, but then that was offset by sellers as well. Let me just quickly go to the daily and let me just put some parameters such as, one second, we need to have certain parameters such as the moving averages. So in terms of moving average, let me just quickly change the parameters. We were looking for a moving average of 20, right? So in terms of its length, I would be putting 20. Right now, the prices are more or less, as you can see, are, one second, the prices are more or less on a sideways trajectory. So daily is sideways. Let us quickly go to the 4 hour. The 4 hours is also sideways. So in term, the moving average is very beneficial when we are using it in in the perspective of prices. If the trend is strong, the prices will be clearly below in terms of a downtrend. When the trend is clearly up, the price will be overall above the moving average. But if the prices are being cut by the moving average, like it is currently as of now, it indicates that the prices are sideways. There is no clear direction for this particular stock. Even on the 1 hour, you can see that there is sideways trajectory. So we do not have to, think more about this. It is only a matter of time. Let the prices do what went instantly, right? As of now, it is only two, which is going to be the trade which was shared today, that is Hindrap AP, and the trade that was shared on 11th of December, that is KRITI, right? So, any questions, any type of doubts, if you have, you can always get back to me. Today has been more of a fabulous or a surprising day, right? Where the prices, especially on Nifty, had been quite bearish in the morning, but all of a sudden, just based on the last two 4 hour candles, right? So the last 4 hours have been phenomenal, where the prices just continued in the direction that we were least expecting it. There was a lot of skepticism in the morning, but that is the beauty of markets. The markets can shift instantly, just in a span of, I guess, a couple of hours, right? one, two, three, four. Just in the span of 4 hours, the markets have shifted the entire sentiment, which was bearishness and skepticism, into bullishness and optimism, right? And the reasons were also discussed. Let me just make sure that I can show you why there was, like especially Bharti Airtel, which had done quite phenomenal. We had mentioned about it, but it is important that people are aware as well. It is Bharti Airtel. So there could be news events, there could be some kind of optimistic news from other big companies that can also instill optimism in the other stocks as well. So it was Bharti Airtel, it was ICICI, which were the two main stocks that had literally, shaken up the markets and had lifted it up with optimism. So those are the two. We would be looking at the expectations of a US rate cut, and that is where again it's happening next week. So based on its anticipation, there is more optimism in the Indian markets as well. All right. Please be aware the reason for the bearishness since the market beginning as of today had been mostly because of the expectations of a stronger dollar and uncertainty that was surrounding China's stimulus, right? So with a lot of sentimental analysis that are also being played around, we need to be aware or updated in terms of what news events are, and that is what exactly Harsh is providing you. We are analyzing the markets. Once a hot stock is observed on my radar, I will provide to you. But when there is no hot stock, especially on a Friday evening, come on, how can I give you a hot stock recommendation on Friday when the markets are just going to close? Rather, it would be much better for us to come afresh for the next week and be clear in terms of direction. But please bear in mind, in terms of liquidity for the month of December, the liquidity will dry up with the major banks and institutions, the managers, the directors, the fund managers, the hedge funds. They would be taking their break, especially during Christmas and New Year, and that is where we would be seeing a reduction in the volume. So just be aware of that. But nonetheless, the markets have been quite phenomenal as of today. Hindward is currently in our area of interest with between the parameters of 295 and 305. The prices are correcting, but be clear and be aware that yes, since the last pivot is taken out and has also created a flip zone, right? Let me just quickly type it. Since the markets have reacted to the previous support and have created a flip zone, we do have higher probability for this current area to hold and take prices higher. Prices are currently above the moving average, and at the same time the prices, let me just put an indicator which would be MACD. And in terms of MACD, let me just put it. Apparently, we are allowed to put only two indicators. I do not understand why. It might be because of this particular. So, in terms of MACD, we can still see clarity where the prices are once where the prices are in the positive territory, right? Histogram is green in color, and the moving averages are also in the positive territory. So these all are inclining towards the prices to continue in the upward direction. It is just a matter of time that we need prices to continue in a direction. So keep an eye on Hindware AP and keep an eye on KRITI. Yes, we had expectations of prices to go and hit our 5% target, but sometimes the markets are gloomy, sometimes the markets are skeptical. It doesn't make a difference. We are having more assurance in terms of prices being held at the key support area around the 160 level. So we do expect prices to continue up. Yes, currently it is below the moving average, and even in terms of the MACD, the histogram is red and the moving averages are in the negative phase of the histogram. But it is only a phase where we would be waiting. It's a matter of time before the prices turn and would continue. at least to the trend line. Even if the prices come back to the trend line, we can be hitting our 5% profitability, right? I hope people have taken the trades, and I hope people are ready to make money, right? We had done a good amount of work today. We had discussed in terms of what hot stocks were shared. We did look at certain sector analysis as well. We had informed even when the indices were bearish in the morning, how within a couple of hours the markets can shift from bearishness to bullishness just based on a couple of factors or just a couple of companies who had overperformed based on their records, right? Sorry, reports. So that can also be an added benefit. We are expecting rate cuts for the dollar by next week, and there is optimism in the markets that the share market should be having bullish sentiment for the next week. So we have discussed a lot of details. We looked at different stocks. Certain stocks are currently going against us, so you have to be aware that there are many macroeconomic phase factors that are not in our control, right? Especially with companies like Hind Oil. Then we looked at Poonawalla, where the prices are just consolidating. Majority of the companies as of now are more or less having a sideways trajectory. So right now the markets are a little gloomy, or I would call it as lazy. We will keep you updated as in how the markets will be, up and alive in the next week. But please make sure to arrive for the third live streaming session, where we will be shifting our focus from the Indian share market to the international markets, where I would be talking to you more based on psychology and the detrimental effects that one has on their mindset that is preventing them from making money and becoming successful in the financial markets. So I hope everyone has had a good time. Yes, just in the next couple of minutes, the markets would be closing. As you can see, just in the next 40 45 seconds, based on the timer, the markets will be closing, and what we had expected on KRITI did not work out. But nonetheless, we do have the assurance or the optimism of support being held, and it is only a matter of time before the prices continue up. So if you have any other doubts, or if you would be wanting to have a look at our financial sheet in terms of understanding how well we have been performing, how consistently we have been delivering results, you can revert back to my team of assistants, and they can provide you with all the details if required. So I hope everyone should be present for today's third live streaming session, the last streaming session for this week. And until then, I hope everyone has a great afternoon and a great evening. So, everyone, please make sure that you arrive for the third live streaming session. Until then, namaste and take care. Bye bye. And have a great day. Bye.